Welcome to my WLTOYS 124019 review. If you love the 144001, you are going to absolutely love this thing.
Well, Richie and my fellow Drifter Maniacs, I entitled this video, Why This Is the RC Car That Everyone Should Buy for Very Good Reason. This is the new WLTOYS 124019. Now, if you've heard of WLTOYS before, it's probably because you either own or have seen videos of the 144001, which simply put, is the fastest RC car out there under $100. It will do 40 miles an hour on 3S, pretty much straight out of the box. If you modify it to brushless, like RC Master and Birmingham RC have done, you're going to be going over 100 miles an hour. For a 1/14 scale car, that is mind-blowing. However, if you own one of those, by the time this video is finished, fingers crossed, you will want to be going out and buying one of these, because I guarantee people are going to be making the new WLTOYS Buggy go even faster than the 144001. Anyway, let me unbox the Buggy version of this car, show you what I'm talking about. You may have already seen some recent videos of this, which is the Desert Buggy version, but this is heavier and less aerodynamic than a car contained within this box. But I will put them side by side on the bench so you can see the differences later on in the video. Now, as I unbox this, you're going to see some similarities to the 144001. So what do we get for our money? Instruction manual, USB charger, and a wheel spanner. Well, it comes with the transmitter that's got quite a nice feel to it. While the car is ready to run with the battery included, you are going to need 4 AA batteries in the bottom. We've got throttle dual rate on here and steering trim for the functionality. But when you're using this transmitter, it does have a fairly good feel to it in terms of the way it actually controls the car. And I would just say, before we take a detailed look at this car, I'm also going to put it later on in the video alongside this car, which is very, very similar, but a few key differences, and I'll talk through why this is the one to go for if speed is your thing. So let's get straight to the action, the car itself. Just to give people an idea, this is a 144001. Look at how much longer this chassis is, and this is going to be the secret to making this car go much faster. But before I take the body off the car, let's have a quick spin around the outside, where you will see a lot of the key features like threaded aluminum shocks on there, fully adjustable turnbuckles, both front and rear. Also have the threaded shocks at the rear. We've got metal shock towers at the rear and at the front as well. Metal drive shafts, 4-wheel drive, all round. These tyres are pretty grippy on a multitude of surfaces, and it might give some clue this thing's been designed for speed with a smooth side to them. Got the body film to take off in a second, but there is a lot to like about this, particularly the underside, which is all metal chassis on there. For 125 bucks, even before I get the lid off, this is looking good value for money. With the body film off, that purple is absolutely popping out on the eyes. Hopefully that comes across well on camera. Here's the heart of the matter. Let me talk you through the spec of the current car and what you can do to make this thing go much faster. We'll start on at the front. We've got a micro 5-wire servo, combined ESC and receiver, a brushed 550 can motor, and a 2S 2200 milliamp LiPo included with it, Dean's connector on there. But as I said at the start, why everyone should buy this car is because of that extra 5 centimeters of length. What, Rich? Well, on the smaller 144001, the ESC used to mount on the top. The ESC and receiver used to mount on the top here because the servo was butting up virtually against the back of the motor. Now you've got enough room that if you want to go brushless and replace this combined ESC with a brushless ESC, you can fit you've got space to fit the receiver here, plus you can fit a whacking great 2200 milliamp 3S pack, like I'll show you later on in this video. Because this car, while people do run it on 2S, this ESC, even the stock one, is 3S capable. It's a complete fallacy that this thing blows up the minute you put 3S in it. I've run the Desert Buggy version of this car for 15 minutes doing non-stop speed runs without any issue at all. Buy one of these, fit 3S to it. But the key reason, as I said, why you should buy this car is the extra space you've got in here now means you can replace this combined ESC with something like a Castle Mamba X ESC and fit an aftermarket receiver on here. And speaking of which, you will need to do that, because if this car is like its Desert Buggy brother, it's got one neat feature to it, which is not something you want for speed runs. This radio's got a failsafe built in, so when it runs out of range at about 200-300 feet away from you, this thing brakes to a stop, which is an outstanding feature for an RC car. But if you're doing speed runs, you want a long range radio. You don't want it to be cutting out after 200 or 300 feet. Anyway, let me get the battery on charge and then I'll put it alongside the Desert Buggy so you can see the similarities but the differences between the two as well. Okay, whilst the 124019 is similar to the 124018, there are some key differences and they are going to handle quite differently accordingly. First of all, I'm showing you them from the side so you can see the wheelbase of both cars is identical. But look at the shock positions. The front shocks are the same, but the rears virtually upright on here and leaning heavily forwards on the Desert Buggy. You've also got a lot more weight on this car. I've taken the spare wheel off for the minute because to keep the weight down, but it's got a spare wheel on there plus all this plastic in terms of the bodywork on it. It's going to add quite a bit. And on a car this lightweight, that's probably adding like about 15% to the weight of the car. So that is going to make a difference at speed, as is the stance of the cars. For that, I need to take the camera down and show you them from the front. Well, the cars are exactly the same width as each other. This has obviously got a lot worse aerodynamics because you've got this flat plate at the front which is fairly upright. This is a lot more streamlined body on the Buggy, so we should get more speed out of it on that basis alone. You've also got the restriction of that roof and the light bar providing lift, but one noticeable factor is the clearance underneath them. This is sitting considerably higher than the Buggy version is. Yeah. I'll try and highlight that a little bit better, putting them end to end on here. If you can see, that is considerably lower, the Buggy on the right, than the Desert Buggy is on the left. So the stance of this car, combined with the lower weight and the more aerodynamic body, makes me think this thing is going to go even faster. And I got 43 miles an hour out of this on 3S. They've got the same ESC as each other, same motor on board and the same gearing, I believe. Anyway, I shall be putting the GPS later on this week, but I think it's time we went to see if that battery's finished charging, take a quick spin around the yard. Just remember guys, if you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe.
Well, time for the first run of the 124019. Just running on the stock 2S pack today, which seems plenty enough around the yard. And this handles, I will say, very, very differently from the Desert Buggy version of this car. This thing is now quite tail happy. The extra light, it being lighter than the Buggy, as I said, makes it handle very differently. Look at that, it's lifting on the full throttle, it's lifting the inside front wheel, but it corners like it's on, almost like it's on rails. The back end just drifts around in lift off to oversteer, but if you then get on a throttle nice and early as it starts to drift, you can flick that thing round and it handles like an absolute demon. I cannot wait to see how fast this thing is going. I think it's going to be a real handful on 3S, to say the least. Changes direction very, very rapidly indeed. This transmitter might almost look a bit cheap, but the radio setup on the car, I have to say, is quite impressive. Certainly the steering on the car appears to be very quick indeed. When you've got it loaded up in the corner, the grip is absolutely phenomenal. Bear in mind, this is not as grippy as Blacktop on here, this concrete, but the car has got enough power, even on 2S. Woo, don't want to burn the diffs out there, Rich. But it's got enough power to flick that back end out without any problem at all. So on 3S, I have a feeling the thing is going to be an absolute animal. Well, I will say, I've been testing this off camera and put a pack through it already, and the battery lasts for well over 20 minutes because there is just no weight to this car at all. It handles considerably better than the 124018 because, as I said, it's got a lot less weight in the top there without the cage and the spare tyre being on the back. Anyway, let's see how it handles over grass. Okay, how will it get on full throttle on grass? Well, I was going to say it gets kicked around on the grass, but the suspension appears to be soaking up the bumps without any problem at all. He says, and then flips it over, but changes direction on grass pretty well. It will actually almost watch the traction roll because it's got so much grip in the corners. Can't help thinking this would be quite a good little club racer. On 3S, it is going to be monstrously quick over on any terrain. Brakes, goodish, it's good, quite strong. Could maybe do with improving a little bit, but I might have a look at the ESC program and see if you can program the ESC as you can with some of these smaller cars. Oh, look at that, flick the back end round on the grass there, on 2S. Well, you've certainly got enough power straight out of the box to have some serious fun in a large or small space width. Oh, and it will put up with a bit of a bang. not just point and shoot, it handles very, very well indeed, and certainly a lot better for sitting lower to the ground, which makes me think, should I lower the Desert Buggy down? This brushless, I think, is just going to be absolutely electrifying. If they stock out the box, the car does come with quite a bit of tow out, but I think if you're doing the speedrun stuff, you're definitely going to want to put some tow in, but the tow out definitely helps this thing steer like an absolute demon around the yard here.
So what do we think, people? I entitled this video, Why I Think This is the RC Car That Everyone Should Buy. I feel for very good reason indeed. If you like the 144001, been a bit frustrated at trying to squeeze the electrics in there, particularly squeezing that big ESC on the top in there, this is definitely the car for you. You're going to be able to put a big brushless system in here without any problem whatsoever. I've got one fitted in that Desert Buggy, which I've done a speed test on the other day, which is video will be coming up shortly on that, and the thing is absolutely terrifying. Suffice to say, I would think with the right brushless system in this, even with the stock gearing, you could possibly be looking at 80 or 90 miles an hour, which is simply staggering without changing the gearing. And if you want to change this to Mod 1 gearing, I've got a video which will show you exactly how to do that, which will really enable you to turn the wick up on the speed with this car. Anyway, if you like what you've seen today, share it with friends, but if you love it, hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.